Hi, and welcome to Minivan Camper Building with Leslie. How you doing? Today we're going to talk about money. We're going to hit all the costs involved in actually doing the build. Actually, we're talking about all the costs involved in doing my build because I can't tell you what somebody else spent and I can't tell you what you're going to spend. But my build will help give you an idea of what you can expect. Maybe you want to go a little higher or lower. That's on you. All I can do is tell you what I did, and I hope it helps. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm Leslie, and I built out our minivan into a camper by myself. And I'll show you how to do it too if you're so inclined. So while you're here, why don't you go ahead and subscribe? We can keep in touch and go ahead and ask any questions that you have about whatever, anything in the comments. I try to get back to every single comment I possibly can. If you don't believe me, go check out the comments. But you'll see that if you have questions, they will be answered. I will try to help you out as much as I can. So let's get into talking about the money. I want to say a couple of things overall. So first is, probably like you, I hate it when people say you can do it for free. Just use the old aluminum from the boat trailer you have in your backyard, right? Well, newsflash, most of us don't have old boat trailers hanging around your backyard. And what are you going to do if you don't? You still need materials. There are things that I had lying around that I used. I will let you know what those are, but I'm going to try to stick to exactly what you can expect the cost to be. Does that sound fair? Okay, cool. The next thing I want to let you know is that I shop prices hard. So this isn't going to be just about the first shiny thing that comes along for your van build. This is going to be something that I spent time researching to get the best price on. And then also, I want to make it very clear that this is an estimate. I did not save every receipt for every screw that I bought for this van build. So it's not going to be completely accurate, but because I am very money oriented and I'm very careful with money, I have an excellent idea of how much, basically in the ballpark, how much all these materials cost. So you just gotta trust me on this one, okay? Okay, cool. Now let's get into it. In addition to the costs of actually building, there were other costs incurred. Those were, number one, the tools. I used a jigsaw, which cost about $30. I also have my beloved Milwaukee rotary tool. That cost about $80. And my drill and driver kit, I got the kit, it's also a Milwaukee, but I got the kit that includes the battery charger and two 12-volt batteries. And that whole kit was $160. And my latest power tool, the sewing machine, that cost $100. For years, I resisted getting a sewing machine. What do I need that for? But man, it really came in handy for a lot of these projects. Okay, and the other thing I want to mention is that we also spent money, obviously, on the van. Now, the van we got is a 2016 Honda Odyssey EX. Not a lot of frills, bells and whistles, a basic. It's not the push button power, tailgate thing, no. So I shopped and shopped and shopped, you know me, and I got a low mileage vehicle. Which was not too, we got it, let's see, 3 years old. We got it 3 years old, low mileage, and spent $20,000 on it. Could I have shopped around harder and gotten a better deal? Yeah, probably. But at some point I had to draw the line in the sand and say, we're getting this vehicle and moving forward. Okay. So with those included, now you have the bigger picture of actually what we're talking about. So for the build portion of it, I'm going to go bit by bit here. Okay, I'm going to cover every piece. There we go. I'm going to cover every piece that I installed, starting with the roof rails. Okay, this van came without roof rails, and I don't mean the crossbars, I mean the rails that go like north and south. You know what I mean? So I looked and looked. Yes, you can get the OEM, they call them, the original manufacturer equipment roof rails for like $400. No. No. So I looked and looked and looked, and I said, oh, you can get the off-brand for like 130? Yeah. So I did that. And even though there were warnings, people said don't get them because they won't line up perfectly with the little bolts that are already installed in your roof, and it's going to be a pain. And you know what? It was a pain, and it took me hours to install these. I should have just been able to pop them on and screw on the nuts to secure them onto the bolts. No. Instead, I had to twist and turn and adjust and cut little extra holes with the rotary. It's a pain. It would have been worth the extra couple of $100 just to get it over with. But I spent $130 on my stupid ass low-end roof rails. I mean, they're fine, they work fine, it's just the measurements weren't what they were supposed to be. Roof rails, $130. Okay. The crossbars, could I have gotten the high-end Thule crossbar? Yes, I could have, but you know me. So I looked for solutions, and what I wound up getting are these 1-inch perforated square tubes that you can order to length from a company called FlexCraft. It's awesome. Check out their website. I'll put the link. And you can order them to length. I designed the crossbars so that they should hold 2 kayaks side by side, because when we have the kayaks with us, they need to fit on there comfortably. So that's what I did. And those 2 crossbars were $25 in total. For the roof storage, we didn't originally have the basket we have now. We just had 2 external frame backpacks. And we threw them up there. We lashed them on the roof, and they work great. And that was our roof storage. And those I had purchased for $12 at Goodwill. Yes, Goodwill. I just happened to be browsing through Goodwill and said $6 each. If I never use them, so what? But they were great. I just happened to have them. Used them on the roof for our roof storage. And just recently got rid of them because they just started to crack from sun exposure, etc. Always keep an eye out. Okay, those rain guards I put on the windows. Really important for airflow. And I spent $30 on the rain guards. Yes, I shopped the price hard on those, and I didn't know the difference. They were my first rain guards. So I didn't know the difference between what you would get if you spent more money. Well, after some conversations in some of the comments on some of the videos here that I've previously done, I have been educated that there is a difference in quality. And that was pretty evident when we're driving on a highway through Oklahoma, and then one of the rain guards started to flap and peel off. So we pulled over, ripped it off, and went on with our lives. And I would say that spending more money, I would feel a little bit more confident that that wouldn't happen. But in the meantime, the rain guards that we got were $30. The screens in the windows, custom made by me. And I got a roll of the mesh. You can get it from Home Depot for about $10. And I also used corrugated plastic for the frame part of it, and that cost about $20. How did I do it? I will explain. It will be a video on its own. It's more than I can tell you here, believe me. But I will get you a video that will explain exactly how I made the screens. So if you want to use the design or be inspired by the design, then you'll have some place to start too. Okay, For the window coverings, yes, Reflectix. I got a roll of that for about $10. And I used some fabric. And this is how I buy fabric for this kind of project. I go to Walmart, whatever they have, like pre-cut or on sale, fine, bring it. So for $5, more or less, I got some fabric that I could use for the window coverings. Okay, now for the actual furniture, the bed platform. The platform, I just got a piece of 4x8 plywood 3/4 inch thick. Let me say this. Right now I'm coming at you from May 2021. Lumber prices, you know, how they do. So right now they're super high. I think they're coming down a bit right now, but yeah, the lumber prices have been nuts. I bought this lumber before the lumber market went crazy, so I'm going to tell you what I paid, and you'll have to adjust that for what that means whenever you wind up buying lumber. Hopefully prices go back down and you're cool. But for the 4x8 piece, and it's a 3/4 inch plywood, I paid like $35. And then I got 4 piano hinges to create that platform that goes from bed to bench, and those were $40. For the bed frame, I used two 2x4s 10 feet long. That cost about $20. The hardware, like the braces, etc., that was about $20 for the hardware. And then I also have some 2x6s going across, so I got an 8-foot 2x6, which cost me about $10 at the time. For the mattress, I used a 5-inch memory foam mattress, full size. Okay, and then I cut it, right? You'll see how I do that in a mattress video. But that cost about $120. I wasn't going to skimp on this. Yes, I shopped price, but it is the mattress. And it's not just me, it's me and my hubby, and we need to be comfortable. So we already are cramped for space. So let's get a mattress that's a good quality, that's going to make sure that we're not grumpy when we wake up after a night's sleep. So yeah, I made sure to get a good quality one, and I spent $120 on the mattress. For the fabric, shopped that too. It was about $40 for the fabric and about $18 for the zippers. Next, let's talk about those shelves that I built in that go against the third row, what would be the third row, the windows. I went ahead and just got some, this is my first time building shelves. They're not the sturdiest things in the world, but they do work. And I got some project board and some 1x2s. And the total of that for, I think both of them, was maybe $15 to $20. Let's say 15. They weren't expensive. And I also had some trim hanging around the garage, so if you go and buy some trim, like an extra couple of bucks, but totally not expensive at all. Do you want to use maybe higher quality, you know, some nice bamboo, whatever? Sure, go for it. But this is what I used, and this is how much it cost me. Okay. Oh, the cabinet. Okay, the cabinet where our pantry is, that I made with 1/2-inch plywood and some 1x2s and then some hardware, and not a whole lot of hardware either. And the total of that was about $25. And then just the blood, sweat, and tears building it. Separate video for that. Okay, in the cabinet, I also installed some metal shelving. I just went ahead and got some of those closet system shelving pieces, and I found one for $10 and then used the rotary tool and cut it down to size to fit in the space. And I still have some left over. For the arch that goes in back of the front row seats, that was made with scraps of wood and some, and this is so weird, you guys. I just had like a leftover hard plastic garden border. It's kind of hollow. I cut it down to size and I used that as the main piece that goes across. You may not have a leftover piece of hard plastic garden border laying around, I'm pretty sure. But if you do, it's perfect for this. I also used some pipe straps to secure it on the handle behind the passenger seat. And I put up some drawer knobs, again, cheap drawer knobs that I got at Walmart for a couple of bucks. All of that, from scrap wood to leftover, blah, 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 under 10 bucks. Under 10 bucks to make that arch that I paid. So I realize you might want to use something else that you have to go out and buy. It won't, believe me, it won't cost you much. It's just a matter of good design and good execution. Okay, on the floor, I did not level out my floor. I just said, let's go for it. Let's see what happens. And instead of that, I did buy a plastic carpet protector. It's one of those thick, clear plastic. It's got little like nubs on one side so it doesn't slide around. And so I used that. I cut a couple of strips and I just put that down, $12. For the cooler that goes in our pantry cabinet, $25. And we just take some ice that we get from a convenience store once a day and put it in there and it's fine. For the cooler, $25. For the table that I made, the expensive parts really were the hardware. The telescoping leg that folds out and then adjusts to the height, that was 20 bucks. The channel hardware where it attaches to whatever surface you want to attach it to, 25. And for the plywood itself, it was like a 1/2 inch piece of plywood and 10 bucks. So let's see, is that everything? The total of all this, about $700. $700 to go from minivan to full-on camper. So not too bad. It just takes a little imagination, good design, patience, and power tools. And coffee. Whatever's on your mind about building out your camper van, let me know. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.